Hi guys, how you doing? And lovely to meet you today. How are things going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. This really packs a punch. No pun intended. Honestly, it's wow. And Brady, let's just start with you because I wanted to know what was the inspiration for you to write this amazing story. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, I like to describe it as like a two-prong idea. On one hand, I've always enjoyed doing action scenes, and I've done a few small action scenes or combat scenes in previous movies, and I really wanted to do something a little more fleshed out and a little more action filmy because I just grew up in the 80s in the
Sure.
suburbs, and so I'm a huge fan of action movies. That was just my bread and butter when I was a kid. So it's baked into me. So I wanted to have that kind of like frivolous, fun action movie thing, but I also wanted to do something with a little more commentary and like some kind of messaging.
Yes.
And I've done a lot of growing up and a lot of learning about like patriarchy and misogyny and stuff over the years, and the things that men do and say to women when I'm not around or when a lot of other men aren't around. And so
Mhm.
I wanted to kind of shine a light on that and kind of tell a story of like somebody who pushes back against that, and fights that. And so it was those two ideas kind of dovetailing together.
Amazing. And Elizabeth, for you, I'm curious to know what was your reaction when you first read the script? How did you identify with Alex? And then, thinking that this script came from a man. I mean, bravo.
Bravo to Brady, number one. He'll tell you about how he threw this script at a couple of his female friends, which I'm excited to see the answers from. But I was relieved. I will say I relate to Alex in so many ways because I'm a woman in the stunt community. So I'm a stunt woman first, and then, walked into acting because, it's a great opportunity, but you have to be a great actor to be a great stunt performer. So I was relieved. I was like, Alex and I agree on so many things. There's a couple of things, obviously, that we haven't been through, but I finally felt like someone understood the female action hero because Alex is not perfect by any means. She's not like a Captain Marvel or anything. She's a gritty human being who's been through things, who's dealt with addiction and loss, and like it's messed up. Like she's got a messed up life, but she becomes this hero that just no one expects. She's very in tune with herself by the end of it and realizes like, hey, this is me. I'm a strong woman. I can finally fight back against these people, these men that don't understand me. And now I have a thing, like I've got a reason to be able to be as strong as I knew I could be. I'm not gonna lie, the fact that Brady as a man wrote this, I was like so many applause to you because he gets it.
Yeah.
He understands what we go through. And I was relieved that somebody took the time to put it down on paper and put it into the universe. Because now, hopefully, once people see this film, a lot of men will be like, wow, that really does happen.
Well,
all right.
Yeah, and I want to ask you because coming from the stunt world before you, we know you had to have encountered, I mean, let's face it, you are a woman and you're a tough woman and that's awesome. And there's a lot of stunt women out there. But when you get into this business, it's a man's world.
Oh my God.
How do they treat you? How do they treat you? And it's got to be different treating a woman than a man when you're in a stunt position.
So many, and like, this is such a great question. So Brady, I think you remember saying this. If not, I hold it to my heart every day. He was very adamant about being respectful on set. Like there was a ton of men on set. There was a ton of women on set, but he was very all about being respectful and understanding that this is the kind of set where men and women are treated equal. Now, prior to this, yes, I've had plenty of experiences. Not naming names, but I've definitely had somebody say you're walking into a boys' club, deal with it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, like I knew that walking into stunts because the history of being a stunt performer, men always did it. Men were stunt doubles for women. It was like a family tradition that you paint your uncle's house and that's how you're going to get onto a set. And then women stepped in and we were like, no. Like, and it's great. It's awesome. But this was such a treat for me because I've been on a lot of sets. This was probably one of the best where I felt truly respected. And not just because I was playing Alex, but because Brady gets it. And all of the cast that he hired gets it. All the crewmen he hired got it. Everyone, great job, like killing it. Like just treated me like one of them. And that was amazing.
Amazing, amazing. And Brady, for you, so once you decided to cast Elizabeth here, no brainer, obviously. I think she probably was the best person you saw, because I can't imagine anyone better, honestly. But what impressed you about her?
Yeah, I mean, the trick for that role is we needed to find somebody who could act and could also do stunts. And so that, in the Seattle area, that list of active stunt women who can do that is not that long. So we only auditioned, I think, 3 people, including Elizabeth. And she was by far the best. Like we all agreed instantly, like this was the best audition we have. And so now we just have to get her on a plane from China. So
Something, yeah.
yeah. And so yeah, that was the most important part was having somebody who could fill both of those roles and wear both of those shoes. And luckily she was able to do it. And it was great. It was a great process. And yeah, I couldn't be happier with who we wound up with.
Yeah, and you did have a stunt fight coordinator on set, obviously, but for Elizabeth, for you, like, does anything scare you?
No. That's a knee-jerk reaction. I say that I'm not a huge fan of high falls. 40 feet is my max. But luckily we didn't have any high falls in this film, so I was really happy about that. But anything I think that does scare me, especially in this film, because there were a couple times I was like, oh boy, I don't know if I can do this. Luckily, I had a stunt double, Becky, who was incredible. We went to stunt school together, so I knew her. Right. And then Drago, being as awesome as he is as a stunt coordinator, made me feel safe the entire time. So if there was anything I was like, he was like, all right, how do you want to approach this? And it was fine.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's fun. From my perspective, it's always fun to watch those scenes. I would never do them, obviously, but yeah, it's got to be, Brady, like, do you ever get nervous when you're making this film? Yes, everything is controlled. I get it, but shit happens, right?
Oh, shit does happen, and I mean, shit did happen. It's there was a little bit of blood spilt, not by anybody's like deliberate actions, but just like for instance. We needed to throw somebody through a window. We needed to throw Alex through a window. And originally Elizabeth was like, I want to do it. And we're like, no. And then so we did Becky. And of course, when Becky did it, she cut her hand up, because if you're landing on some broken glass, you're going to cut your hand up. Yeah. So then I'm like, that's why Becky was here. And we know and she loves her scar, by the way. She's like a captain in the Air Force. She flies Black Hawk helicopters, and she got this badass scar that she likes showing to people now.
It's a badge of honor, right?
Yeah, exactly. She loves her scars, and so yeah, and I never really, especially when Dre goes around, like I felt unsafe doing my own wackadoo stupid ass stunts when I was a younger filmmaker and didn't have stunt coordinators and didn't think we needed one. Right. And now I look back at some of that stuff, like a guy hanging off a van while we're driving 40 miles an hour. I'm like, Jesus Christ, we could have killed that guy.
Yeah.
So it's like you learn as you get older the value of having a trained professional kind of manage the safety of not just the stunts, but also having an armorer on set who knows how to handle. Every weapon in the movie was fake, but it looked very real and felt very real. It was a metal airsoft gun with the gas blowback, the slide and everything. And so, if a police officer rolls up and doesn't know what's going on, they're going to think, who knows what they're going to think. So it's just good having those safety people in there who do that for a living and know exactly how to handle everything. And that really like takes the stress down, and you don't think anybody's going to get hurt when you have those kind of people around to kind of manage it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so my last question, I'm going to ask both of you this because, at the end of the day, yes, it's a movie and you want to be entertained, but it does pack a message. There's no question. So Elizabeth, I want to start with you. What are you hoping, after people see this, not only having a good time watching and what you do, but what kind of discussion would you like them to have coming out of it?
And that's such a good question. I hope people have a lot more questions about themselves. Like, can I do this? Whatever hard time you're going through, this is the movie that's going to make you realize you can get through it. Because if Alex can go from being really depressed and just giving up on everything to hauling ass and kicking all these dudes in the face, then I think anybody can get through anything. And it's a real message. Like, we all go through something, and the conversations, I want more men to just speak to women with more respect and treat them better, because it's not as if we're going to go crazy the way Alex does, but in a sense, like, women do not get treated the best way. And Brady has said this before, like, he had no idea that women were getting talked to in a certain respect. And when he wrote this, it was kind of like that correction of like, no, we need to treat them better regardless of anything. So I hope that they start talking to each other like that.
Yeah, and Brady, how about you?
I mean, I've thought about this. My kind of dream scenario is like a man and a woman couple watching this film in their living room, and when it's done, the woman is like, "Oh yeah, like I feel all that," and the guy's like, "Oh come on, men don't really talk to women like that," and she's like,
Right.
"Oh really?" You know, like really?
Yeah.
And like,
open
here's this
the
time when this guy said this to me. Here's this time when this guy said this to me. And it's like, and the guy will be like, "Oh, okay. I guess men do talk to this way to women when I'm not around." And so I hope that kind of just like has a light bulb moment for some men. Obviously, I don't think this film's going to change the world or like be this
No.
movement, but I hope it has the opportunity to start some conversations that I think need to be had.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time to both of you. It's my birthday, so it was a lovely way to spend my
Happy
part of
birthday.
my birthday with you.
Birthday.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
thanks for this
you.
film. You guys did a great job with it. Best of luck to you and stay safe and healthy, okay?
You too.
You too.
Okay,
Bye.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.